These are 10 isolated mountain communities where the world's wealthiest families vanish from public view. The global elite stopped buying super yachts and penthouse suites, choosing to buy silence instead. By early 2026, tech founders and finance giants shifted their capital into remote alpine locations, offering extreme privacy and private security forces. Some of these villages shelter fewer than 1,000 residents, but they control hundreds of billions of dollars. We tracked flight records, property purchases, and quiet zoning changes to map this vast wealth migration. From heavily guarded ski slopes in Montana to deep underground bunkers beneath the Swiss Alps, the geography of global wealth looks completely different today. The ultra-wealthy completely abandoned major cities over the last 3 years. Urban penthouses offer status, but they fail to provide the one commodity billionaires actually want today, which is total invisibility. High-profile individuals face constant digital tracking and physical security threats, meaning they needed environments impossible for the general public to access. Mountain geography solves this problem naturally. High altitudes restrict private jet traffic, while single road entry points allow private security teams to monitor every approaching vehicle. A gate cannot stop a determined intruder, but a 20-mile winding mountain pass covered in snow creates an impenetrable fortress. This geographical shift forced local economies to adapt overnight. Tiny villages quietly upgraded their power grids to support extensive subterranean server rooms and private medical facilities. Corporate executives realized that true safety requires absolute physical distance from major population centers, so they bought the land to control who gets to breathe the same air. Coming in at number 10 is a former mining settlement hidden deep inside a box canyon in Colorado. Telluride features steep rock walls on 3 sides, and that forces large commercial aircraft to land hours away. Only specialized private planes can navigate the treacherous approach into the local airstrip, keeping casual tourists out. Corporate executives buy homes here precisely because the local government bans chain stores and fast food franchises. Visitors find zero neon signs or luxury boutiques on the main street, ensuring the wealth stays completely out of sight. Behind the preserved historic facades, owners construct sprawling subterranean additions equipped with hospital-grade air filtration and autonomous power systems. They enjoy modern comforts while maintaining the illusion of a forgotten 19th century ghost town. Strict zoning laws protect this isolation, allowing a tech founder to walk down the street without anyone snapping a photograph. Our 9th entry spent decades as a sleepy military outpost, before an Egyptian investor poured over $1 billion into the valley. Andermatt sits surrounded by towering peaks in the Swiss Alps. Most Swiss villages legally restrict foreign property ownership, but the local government granted this specific town a rare exemption. Global buyers flocked to the area immediately, constructing heavily fortified chalets built directly into the surrounding rock faces. The former army base infrastructure proved highly useful for the new residents. Military-grade tunnels still connect various parts of the mountain, so property owners can move between locations without ever stepping outside into the cold. Security teams patrol the valley floor around the clock, ensuring the new billionaires remain undisturbed by hikers. Private trains deliver supplies directly into hidden basement loading docks, making the entire town function as a highly controlled private country club. Cortina hosts the 2026 Winter Olympics, but the real action happens far away from the public event spaces. Elite buyers spent the last 5 years quietly acquiring historic stone houses throughout the surrounding Dolomite Mountains. They avoided flashy new construction entirely, choosing instead to gut centuries-old structures to install biometric security systems and private fiber optic networks. The Italian town operates on a strict code of quiet luxury, where residents wear simple wool sweaters rather than designer clothing. You will never see a loud sports car roaring down the cobblestone streets because true power prefers to whisper. The upcoming Olympic Games brought upgraded infrastructure to the region, meaning the wealthiest families gained better roads and private medical centers without spending their own capital to build them. They let the International Sports Committee pay for the civic upgrades, and once the athletes leave, the billionaires reclaim their perfectly upgraded quiet fortress. This building trend spans across continents, as the richest families no longer build upward into the sky, but rather dig downward into the bedrock. Visible wealth attracts unwanted attention, so architects now specialize in invisible expansions. A modest log cabin sits above ground, serving as a clever decoy, while beneath the frost line, excavators carve out large cavernous spaces. These subterranean complexes house private cinemas, climate-controlled art vaults, and bowling alleys. Construction crews sign strict non-disclosure agreements before arriving at the work sites, with many workers arriving in windowless vans to prevent them from learning the exact location of the properties they build. The engineering required to dig 5 stories deep into solid granite costs tens of millions of dollars, but the owners gladly pay the extreme premium. Absolute invisibility justifies the heavy expense, allowing them to control their environment by hiding the evidence. Park City attracts millions of tourists annually, but the elite class never interacts with the public, retreating instead to a heavily guarded enclave called the Colony at White Pine Canyon. This private neighborhood hides sizable estates within dense alpine forests, offering a layout that provides absolute separation from the public slopes. Every single house features dedicated ski-in, ski-out access points, so an executive can strap on their gear in a heated mudroom and glide directly onto the mountain. When they finish, they ski right back to their heavily fortified back door, bypassing the public ticket lines and crowded base lodges entirely. Private chefs prepare meals inside the homes, eliminating any need to visit public restaurants down in the main valley. Dense evergreen trees obscure the properties from aerial view, ensuring drones cannot capture footage of the backyards. Nicknamed the Aspen of Asia, Niseko receives the deepest and most consistent snowfall on Earth. Wealthy investors from across the Pacific Rim transformed this quiet farming region into an impenetrable winter sanctuary, constructing expansive, eco-friendly domes that blend perfectly into the white surroundings. Japanese culture deeply respects personal privacy, and that social contract makes the town highly attractive to recognizable faces. Paparazzi rarely venture into the deep snow, so public figures walk the streets without physical harassment. Inside their private estates, owners enjoy personal hot spring retreats known as onsens, piping geothermal water directly from the volcanic earth into their living rooms. Extreme winter weather keeps unauthorized visitors confined to the main roads, while high snowbanks act as natural privacy walls that block line of sight completely. Nature builds the security perimeter for them. These hidden outposts require significant amounts of capital to maintain, and the extreme lengths people go to secure their privacy only escalate from here. The final 5 locations on our map rewrite the rules of global real estate entirely. We track these private wealth movements across the globe to show you exactly how the top 0.1% operate behind closed doors. If you find these hidden global networks fascinating, hit the subscribe button right now, as we release deep investigations into the shadow economy and elite infrastructure every single week. Join the community to stay updated on where the world's power truly resides. Now, let us examine the summer camp, where tech giants decide the future of the internet. Every July, the global tech industry moves its headquarters to a remote Idaho town. Sun Valley operates as a heavily guarded summer camp for industry titans, where executives like Tim Cook and Warren Buffett land their jets at the small regional airport for a private conference. The town itself shuts down completely during this period, with private security contractors securing the perimeter miles away from the main lodge. Journalists cannot get anywhere near the actual meeting rooms, and the geographic isolation prevents corporate espionage, allowing rival chief executives to negotiate billion-dollar mergers while fly fishing in the local rivers. During the rest of the year, the valley remains completely silent. Permanent billionaire residents enjoy empty hiking trails and zero traffic, as the sheer difficulty of reaching the town keeps daily tourist crowds away. They engineered an oasis for the highest tax bracket. Moving to an isolated mountain peak provides more than just fresh air, serving as a highly calculated financial weapon. Many of these remote jurisdictions offer aggressive tax advantages, designed specifically to drain wealth away from major coastal cities, allowing a billionaire to save hundreds of millions of dollars annually, simply by changing their primary residential address to a mountain cabin. State governments in these regions write specific legislation to protect hidden assets. They allow property purchases through anonymous trust structures, meaning investigative reporters cannot trace the true ownership of a sprawling mountain estate. The local economy benefits from the substantial property taxes, so local politicians fiercely defend the privacy of their invisible residents. This strategy starves coastal cities of tax revenue, while building immense private wealth reserves in the mountains. Wyoming charges zero state income tax, and that single legal detail turned Jackson Hole into the wealthiest community in America, where the average income in this valley shatters national records. Financial executives buy properties here to protect their stock portfolios from aggressive coastal taxation. The local airport sits entirely within a national park, strictly limiting flight numbers and enforcing severe noise restrictions, keeping commercial traffic practically non-existent. Wealthy buyers purchase hundreds of acres of open ranch land, then place conservation easements on the property to lower their tax burden even further. They build a single hidden structure in the center of the enormous plot, ensuring no neighbor can ever build close enough to observe their daily movements. Vast open space acts as a perfect physical buffer zone, meaning nobody can watch them, and the government cannot tax them. Gstaad projects the image of a humble dairy farming village, as local building codes enforce strict visual uniformity across the entire valley. Every new structure must feature traditional wooden facades and sloped roofs, so a passing tourist sees only quaint alpine cabins. The reality, buried beneath the snow, tells a completely different story. European royals and industrial heirs construct huge underground fortresses directly beneath the wooden decoys. One property features a subterranean garage holding 50 vintage sports cars, while another hides a full-size tennis court 50 feet below the ground. Local farmers still herd cows through the center of town during the summer months, and wealthy residents love this rustic theater. It provides the perfect camouflage for the extreme concentration of capital hidden just out of sight beneath the dirt, creating a sharp contrast between the simple surface and the billionaire basement. Getting to these remote valleys requires a logistical operation rivaling a military deployment. The ultra-wealthy bypass commercial airspace entirely, utilizing a shadow network of private runways cut directly into the mountain rock. Specialized pilots train for months to navigate the treacherous crosswinds and short landing strips. When a jet touches down, a climate-controlled vehicle waits directly on the tarmac, allowing passengers to step from the aircraft into the armored transport without ever setting foot on public concrete. This eliminates any chance of a telephoto lens capturing their arrival. Local air traffic controllers sign strict confidentiality agreements, and flight tracking software frequently loses the signal as the planes drop below the mountain peaks, erasing the final leg of the journey from all public databases completely. They arrive as ghosts, leaving no record of their entry or exit. Big Sky operates the only completely private ski resort on the planet. The Yellowstone Club requires millions of dollars just to join. Assuming the secretive board even accepts your application, tech founders and celebrities built a fortress in the Montana wilderness, where a public road leads toward the mountain, but a heavy security gate stops anyone without clearance, miles before the snow begins. Former Secret Service agents monitor the perimeter, using thermal imaging cameras and autonomous drone patrols. Inside the gates, residents enjoy completely empty ski slopes without ever waiting in a lift line. Local infrastructure includes private fire departments and medical trauma centers, so members never need to rely on county services. They created a fully independent mountain state, totally severed from normal society, using their wealth to buy a parallel reality. The final billionaire hideout defies expectations, as Cashiers sits hidden in the Blue Ridge Mountains. With a permanent population of just 800 people, yet at least 4 billionaires claim primary residence in this tiny forest village. Property values exploded over the last 5 years, but you will not find a single luxury boutique or fine dining restaurant in town. The residents actively block commercial development to keep the area completely unattractive to normal tourists, while immense wealth hides behind unmarked dirt roads and simple wooden gates. Home Depot founders and private equity giants vanish into the thick tree canopy. True power in 2026 does not want to be seen at all, choosing to retreat to the quietest corners of the map and simply lock the door. Silence remains the highest luxury, and Cashiers proves that the richest people alive prefer the shadows over the spotlight. The global map of extreme wealth completely transformed, with these 10 mountain towns demonstrating that modern luxury relies entirely on geographic isolation and absolute secrecy. The super rich traded penthouse views for subterranean bunkers and private ski slopes, buying the mountains to ensure nobody else could climb them. That era of flashy public wealth ended, replaced by an invisible empire built into the stone. If you found this breakdown of elite hiding spots valuable, hit the subscribe button for more investigations into how the world actually works. We decode the hidden systems every week, and we will see you next time.